How's everybody doing tonight? All right. Let's turn myself around here and do the hocus pocus. Doing some changes to the backdrop. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we're going to be doing some little changes in the room, cleaning it up. Right now, we're going to be putting some Christmas presents in here too. So, and have them try to face away from the camera so the kids don't get the bright idea of watching the live stream to figure out what they're getting. So, because this is in my little man cave, so we've got the presents turned around so you can only see the bottom. So, anyways, how's it going, everybody? Happy Monday out there in internet land. My last live stream, I was trying to help you guys cook a perfect turkey, and right into like just talking about it, my internet got cut off. So the live stream went out. It was crazy. Anyway, sorry about that, folks. So I'm doing a bunch of different stuff. How's it going, Yerbs? Working on some music, doing a bunch of things there. So I'm gonna put a couple of songs out on the channel, but they're gonna go out on Common Sense Talks. I'm not gonna put them out on here on Common Sense Fishing. So they're actually just regular songs. So and waiting on the boat to get out still. So, but I've gotten to go out on a couple of trips. Had an interesting time out at Lake McClure. Ran into Ryan Cook and the guys. Um, so it was a fun adventure. We were struggling. Only had a couple of couple of fish. Wasn't much, and I think we were fishing about 25 and deeper most of the day, just assuming they were going to be deep. But a lesson well learned is the nice one came like maybe 15 feet of water, and my buddy was throwing a jig up shallow but wasn't having any luck, so I didn't bother trying. I kind of relied on the fact that he was tossing one. So as soon as I changed to one and I started throwing up in a different, shallower range, started cracking them. So shout out to Ryan Cook for giving us the little tip, because we were probably fishing too deep. So um, I look back to, and it's been extremely warm this year, so we're at above average temperatures. The fish are still in that fall transition stage. They're swimming around, they're moving up. They're not really that deep yet. So even though it feels cold to us a little bit, and it's hey, already about to be December, it's not that time yet. So they're still shallow, easy to get. They're munching. I have a feeling that they're probably like that at a lot of the lakes right now. So jig fishing up shallow is probably going to be a ticket or a Ned rig. One thing I also noticed is the fish that I caught, even out deeper and on drop shots and things, they really bit when the bait hit the bottom. So they weren't after a moving bait really per se, or not even a moving. They just didn't want something popped up in the water column. They really must have been keyed in on something on the bottom, on the hard bottom, crawdads or gobies or sculpin or some kind of bottom feeder little bait fish, because they were basically wanted the lure on the bottom, or they were expecting it to be dying or whatever have you, and then they'd eat it. So they weren't eating it when it was up in the air flopping around, but as soon as you killed it and let it kind of fall, then you'd feel that thump, and then kind of swim off real slow. They weren't real biting real hard on the drop shot either. The jig, on the other hand, you were feeling a thump, thump. You can actually feel a nice little tip. So, you knew they were there. So just, I snapped a couple off, missed a bunch, caught like four the other day on my birthday, went out and caught like 4 or 5, something like that. And so I had fun. Wasn't a crazy adventure or nothing. So, but I did learn, like, oh goodness, it seemed like the bass were on rocks, points, main lake points, and steeper shoreline if possible. Some kind of a long tapering points, but they were up shallow on everything. and it had to have rock or some kind of structural change to it. It wasn't like just shale rock, or like sharp, jagged stuff, or just plain muck or mud or dirt, or like lame, like Plainsboro looking stuff. It had to be kind of, looking solid, and it would hold a bunch of fish. They'd be stacked all up in there, sitting in the rocks, and yeah, they were kicking the jig's butt. So I would go right now, and also it seemed like they were more on the side of the lake that got the most sun. They were on the western side, so not on the eastern side. Um, am I right? Or no, eastern side. Were they on the, yeah, they were on the eastern side, not the western side. So yeah, I was like, I had to think about that for a second. Yeah, yeah, they were on the eastern shore a lot. I noticed that. So main shore, main Lake Point's eastern side of the lake, going all the way up from the Narrows down into McClure Point and Temperance. So they're chewing right now too. It's just it seemed like the morning and mid afternoon bite were the best, and then it slowed down later in the day. So it was a little tough, but hey, we went out there and had fun. So we're gonna get back out there, see if we can get on them, and you know, put you guys on some fish. But it's been kind of, it's been a long shot, so to speak, without a boat. It's hard to get. What do you say? My brother. It's hard to get at a certain spot when you don't have a boat. You can't get to the points and areas that you want. You're just fishing basically at a Steven, shut up, dude. So, all right, guys. I'm about to go beat the shit out of my brother. I swear to God. My fat ass brother thinks annoying me while I'm doing the live stream is a good idea. Ooh, I was about to get it, cancel it, end it, and get up and go wail on him real quick. Like, oh, my brother. You guys don't know my special needs brother lives at home with me. I'll probably end up taking care of him till he dies. He's not all there 100%. And he's a cool dude, but, man, sometimes he doesn't have the best. But hey, I love him, so either way. Cheers to you guys. Hope you guys have a good week. Like I said, it's been kind of doldrums without a boat. I've been getting out there every once in a while doing some shore fishing, getting some trout, doing stuff like that, doing some different stuff. So trying to mix it up a little. But it's not like what I've been. Hey, how's it going? I'm doing all right. So we're just hanging out, chilling, just like talking about missing the boat. I can't wait to get it back because I've got a lot of things I want to try to start doing, like how tos on finding the fish with your fish finder when it's really cold and they're smacked on the bottom. And I want to get a live scope, show guys how to use that once I've kind of mastered it. And just want to have a good time and get out there and do some cool unique stuff with the graphing, breaking down lakes with Google Earth, mixing it with some footage. So kind of spending some time doing some better editing cuts for you guys and gals. Get around and fish some more different water. Just right now, it's been, my boat was like, I don't know if you guys are aware, but all last year my boat was in like a emergency mode, where it would go out and I could go out fishing with it, but I had no operating fish finder and no good live well. So I couldn't get glory picks. I couldn't keep my best five. I couldn't like do anything crazy. I could run and gun, go catch fish, right? So that's what I've been doing for like the last year. So I've been really in need of getting all this stuff spruced up, fixed up. So that's what we're doing, waiting for that boat. And in the meantime, trying to keep it, entertaining, get out there doing some fishing. But these live streams is where I love kicking it and hanging out. Excuse me. So I was just talking about the doldrums, it's like kind of in that state where it's not hard to fish from shore because right now they're shallow. So just a little FYI to everybody, if you're fishing um, the mother lode lakes, at least don't forget to check in shallow. Let's just say that. So, just go out there and fish and have fun. and don't overthink it. So that's what I was doing, because I hadn't been to the lake in like a month. From a boat, I hadn't been to the lake in like 2 months or more, 3 months, but something like 2 months or more. But from the shore, I'd fished this little cove, for an hour, and that was it. But so I had no idea what the fish were doing, and I assumed these fish were all going to be 25, 30 feet deep. We didn't have a working fish finder, so we're just moving all around, just fishing fast, slow, medium, everything. And my buddy is checking up shallow while I'm sticking out deep. And we get nothing for most of the, couple hours. And then I stumble into a real nice one um, in about 15 feet of water or so. And that starts keying us in. They might be shallower. But then we run into Ryan Cook, and he's like, "Oh, hey, hey, try up a little bit and just go fish. Don't overthink it." And I'm like, "All right." And then he was like, "In bottom contact," which I recognized from Tulik. They wanted bottom contact, and then the one that I got earlier wanted bottom contact. And we had missed a bunch too. Same thing, bottom contact and a dink. So same thing, bottom contact. But so we went to the jig, covered water, and boom, started sticking them. Didn't catch a ton of them, but had a lot of fun. And hindsight, 2020, if I could go back now, of course, I know I'm going to start shallow and probably work my way deep, which is what I usually do. But for some reason, I got on the notion that I thought they were going to be deep, so I started there. Wasted way too much time. Lesson learned, don't waste too much time in one water column. Make sure you're cycling through your columns super shallow from 1 feet of water all the way down to 50, 60 feet, grafting, because also it's going to be hard to graph in under like 10 feet of water or so. Your signal's not going to be real clean. It's loud. Fish are going to be spooked anyways if you're over them, right? 10 feet. So it's not as easy to graph fish in that kind of depth. So if they're in there, you just have to check by throwing your lure in there. When they're down over, 15, 20 feet, you can see them. 30, 40, 50, 60 feet, right? You can see them. But when they're in it super shallow, it can be really tricky. So there was some nice spots chasing those trout shallow at Pedro on Friday. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. So you went over there to Pedro and stuck them, right? So that's pretty dope. It's fun catching trout, carp. I don't care what it is, catfish. I'm a fisherman at heart. I love chasing the bass. That's like my premier, my like the one fish that I go after the most. But I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for the tug. The tug is the drug, right? So I just want to feel the pole go doot 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 and set the hook on something and reel it in. That's the main deal right there. So I don't care if it's carp, catfish, or anything else for that matter. Gar, pike. I would love to fish for all of that stuff. So yeah, I don't care. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but you know. So we're working on hopefully. I don't know when. Hopefully, get the boat out. Month or two at max. So I'm thinking for the next month, I'm gonna be stuck probably shore fishing odd and end spots. A lot of the river and canals and all the systems are dry. There's not really anywhere I can go to close by. So I probably have to go fish like McClure, Pedro, stuff like that, New Maloney's from shore. And shore fishing can be quite a experience. It's a little tough when you're bringing a lure uphill. It's so much easier to get snagged. And it's a hell of a lot harder to get proficient at it. I've done it and I'm really good at it, but it's been years. So it's like riding a bike. You catch back up real quick. So I just got to get out there and do a little more shore fishing. And yeah, aqueduct would be cool. It's about 45, so aqueduct would be cool. I might even be able to fish. Well, there's only a small portion of the Los Banos Creek Reservoir you can fish from shore. I could fish some of the forebay from shore and bomb out an LV 500 really far and jig around and throw a jig and stuff like that. So when I see guys using like a chatterbait, I'd use a LV 500, kind of my favorite thing, or a crankbait or a spinnerbait, kind of all similar. Chatterbait's a great lure. I just prefer an LV 500 is One of my favorites, hands down. So yeah, Aqueduct, or either like I said, the San Luis or the Mother Lode Lakes. There's not a lot that's local right now. That's not a lot of the creeks and little river spots and little pond type creek spots are all drying up right now. So there's little pockets and holes that have fish, but it's tough. Bear Creek has a bunch of salmon in it that are dying right now, so that's funny. Uh, not gonna go pick on any of those guys. So it's kind of options are limited. So I just been sitting here talking with you guys on the live stream. That's why I figure, for the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna make sure I just keep in with the live stream, talk about what I would be doing, what I think these fish should be doing. And then when I get out there and fish, I'll bring you guys the news on how it's going. So, for example, if you're fishing the mother lode, try using bottom contact lures, Sinkos, Texas rig, tubes, jigs, Ned rigs, anything that's you can work directly on the bottom and drag it and move it and throw it from a foot in water and work it down to 20, 25. Now, the fish may not always be there. They may move to a different depth or water column, but that's where they're at for me. So, again, shout out to Ryan Cook. So, if you guys are looking for guide services, hit him up. He's good on these mother lode lakes. So, I was focused a little bit too deep. Plus, I was like just keyed in and just having fun. It was me and a buddy for my birthday, and we didn't have a care in the world. We were just whistling and having fun and cracking jokes, talking the old times. And yeah, but definitely had a lot more fun once we started keying in on the shallow fish. It was a lot funner than fishing out in 30 to 60 feet, dragging the drop shot around forever and a day. So I tell you what, that's not fun. So smash that like button if you guys get a chance. Hey, Mike, how's it going tonight? So we're just hanging out. Hope you guys like the shirt. Roses are red, so is bacon. Poetry is hard. Bacon. Homer Simpson style. So cheers. We got to get our lure packs sent out to our two winners. So congratulations to you guys. Um, from the last giveaway last week. And don't forget, this Christmas, all members are going to get something special from me. So if you guys haven't got a chance, make sure you get me your information so I know where to ship everybody's Christmas present to, or where to get it to you at, or however you'd like it. So let me know. That way I can get ready for that, as I'm excited this Christmas. Think you're going to go ahead and get Live Scope, RC? Nice. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting something similar to that. Either that or just a real high-end nice fish finder, and I'll show people how to dial it in. But I'm thinking it's time to get Live Scope. However, I've seen some fish finders that will show the fish swim right up to you, swim right back. But the cone, see, the thing with the live scan is the cone can go out and cover a bigger distance, while a traditional is like a 3D cone like this, but your live scan can see it all. So you can cast a jerk bait, 50 to 100 yards in front of you, work that sucker back, and actually see a fish approach your jerk bait on the live scan. And then stop and give it a pause. And if the fish looks disinterested, start popping it again. And then if the fish comes at it, you can just start going real, you can learn what kind of pauses do they want. You can actually see the graph. You can see what causes them to come at your lure, to commit, to strike your lure. So Live Scope's pretty dope. Just, it's not cheap. So that's what I'm thinking about getting. Either Live Scope and a decent little, cheap fish finder, or a really nice fish finder with maps and GPS and all that good stuff. There's another good thing that is very, very underlooked is a topographical map system, because you can find all the offshore humps, ridges, secondary points, channel swings. You can find all the key structure by looking at a topographical map. right? I've seen it. Live scope looks like the better of the groupings, so that's why I was looking at getting it too. But it really all depends on how much this boat repair is going to cost because I'm just sitting here in the dark. My boat's been sitting at the shop for a while. I'm waiting for him to get word back to me like, hey, this is how much it's going to cost, yes or no, or what each repair is going to cost. And then I could say, all right, well, do this or do that or do this or do that. So, but he knows, we're looking at getting, good evening, Jeff. We're looking at getting the live well fixed and the little aerator pump hose fitting fixed so I could fish tournaments. And then, like an impeller change and a maintenance, like, another greasing, the bearings, all that good stuff. So, maybe change the oil in the lower unit. I don't know all of what he's going to do, but I'm waiting for it. We used it to find the color, and it was on. Yeah, exactly. You can use a couple of different lures and watch the fish follow them, and then change to your different color patterns or sizes or body types, rattle or not rattle. And then when you get the fish to start committing, you can start throwing more of that and then capitalizing on it. And I've had that happen without live scope. I've been at the Delta where the bass were just killer crushing crankbaits, but at first we weren't really getting any and we had to figure out, okay, what was it? So we were there just a week before killing them on crankbaits, and now the particular ones we were using we couldn't get bit on. And so then we're like, well, what is it? And we're using red primarily, crawdad colored ones. We switch over to white and chartreuse. Nope. And then we switch over to silent, and we found that it wasn't necessarily the colors; it was the noise. So we took ones that didn't have the rattles, and we started using those. And we were using bluegill, white, and chartreuse. I think were the three different types that we were using, and then we started crushing them. So we just had to figure out that they apparently didn't want the rattles at that time. So rattle or not to rattle. Sometimes the rattle can hurt you. Sometimes it really just keys them in and turns them extra on fire. Fished TRD all day and kept switching color till we got to Mud Dog and it was on. Nice. Yeah, the Ned rig. The TRD is a killer rig. The Ned rig's a killer setup. That's what they're hitting right now at McClure. Ned rigs and jigs and stuff and Cincos and anything on the bottom basically, so they're not really all up in the upper water column so much. I mean, some of them are. You can see them blasting and chasing trout, but those are some of the bigger fish, and they're just not committing to stuff we're throwing. But it would be interesting to get out there and do like a all swim bait day. So me and a buddy talked about it. Um, I'm probably gonna make a video, and if I blank, I blank. If I get a bite, I get a bite. If I get a fish, I get a fish. Great. But we're thinking about both going out with big swim baits of different versions and types and chucking them all day until we get one or we go home skunked. And we're talking about not bringing our other gear. So just literally fish swim bait rods only, swim bait gear only, and just cycle through different versions, wake baits, glide baits, bottom HUDs, whatever have you. So it should be interesting. So he seemed like he's really down to do it. So and I'd be excited to try. He's got a lot of different swim baits for us to throw. So it would be a great opportunity to get out there and show you guys some $200-300 baits getting thrown easy with hopefully a chance of us sticking a big girl. Um, but sometimes you chuck and wind all day and you really just don't pan out with those lures. But we're gonna try. So you know. Get up into some rocks, some main lake points, get parallel, work these lures real tight to the shoreline, see if we can get a big aggressive fish to come up and pin this bait fish and see what we can do. Um, that's going to probably be the game plan. But sometimes when you see trout leaping out of the air, and you'll see these little splashes, and you'll see these little 12-inch trout like going, and then occasionally you'll see boom, like that's a largemouth smashing one. But then when you see the bass are underneath chasing them, and they'll be leaping to try to get away from them, like a dolphin and a killer whale setup, right? So it's pretty cool to see the trout leap and jump to try to get away from a bass, and then you can tell, okay, they're over open water, and take your swim bait and start throwing it out there. So we'll see what we can do. We're talking about doing that sometime this week, maybe on one of these days. Oh yeah, Chad Shad next spring, nice. Yep. Oh, I'd be down. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Going parallel along the banks, darting and moving along, and hopefully just get crushed doing that. And we'll see what happens. So hopefully we'll have some good content. We'll get some swim bait fish. We're not too sure what's going to happen with that, but it's my buddy's boat, so we'll see how it all goes. That's kind of the idea of what we're looking forward to trying to do the next week, because on my plate so far we've got, of course, live streams we're going to be doing, um, and I'm going to be working most of the week too, I think. So I might take a day to go fishing swim bait up at like McClure or Pedro or Maloney's or something, but we haven't finalized it yet. And then if not, I think following week I'm going to try to get out with some buddies and do the same thing. I think it's big swim bait time as it starts cooling down. You can start getting these real big mamas with things like A rigs, swim bait, stuff like that. There's a lot of 1 to 3 pound fish to be had that are moving up shallow, but I want to find these monsters. So we're gonna try switching up the game, seeing if we can catch them. Now, if I had my boat, it'd be a whole nother story. I'd take you guys out there and we'll do a day of it, and I'll break a video down, even if I get skunked, and you guys can see what I did. Maybe could critique me, help give me some pointers. What do you think I should have done? So it would be cool to basically. I got the Ring doorbell, so it's always telling me when people are coming in and out. But it'd be really cool to get out there and do some more stuff like this. Smallmouth fishing, a lot more at Lake Tulik, to go hopefully pound on some smallmouth. That was fun. I'm thinking, some more multi-species fishing like trout, carp, catfish. Also want to go on a charter or go out to the ocean. We'll take you guys with me. I'll probably throw up really bad, so we'll probably catch like some of that on video, but not like the actual throwing up, but like maybe like from a different. I'll take someone with me, have them record me, because I know for a fact I'm probably going to get seasick. I usually do. Smallmouth are fun. So I'm naturally inclined to them because I fish deeper too usually. So a smallmouth are usually deeper, harder fish to catch, and they're strong. They're very powerful for their size. So I'm looking forward. They can be shallow too. So looking forward to hopefully tangling with them a lot more this next upcoming year. And I was hoping to have the boat out, to really pound the end of November around my birthday, early December, go to Clear Lake, get some really nice final parting shots in. But I'm just going to relax, work, take care of business, and keep doing these live streams with you guys and gals. Fish when I can. And as soon as that boat gets out next year, I'm going to try to do, wish me luck. We're going to do some tournaments. We'll record them. We'll put more personal stuff together in the footage, more of my decision and thought process. We'll try to have some conversations, so. Oh, yeah. Me too. I want to get good at it by going to the lakes that hold them more, like Lake Tulik, like Scotts Valley, like Lake Almanor, stuff like that. So I want to get to like some of these, like Trinity, some of these areas that are smallmouth like havens, you know. I like to go back to Bullard's Bar. This pre-spawn is spawn. It'll be really interesting to try to go after some world-class spotted bass. And same thing with some smallmouth. If I can, you know, there's big smallmouth back east. But if I can find some of the places here like Pardee, New Maloney's, and some of the lakes here that hold some nice smallmouth and get out there and stick them, that would be fun. So that's going to be the goal basically this upcoming year is to diversify a little bit in the fishing world, get into smallmouth, ocean fishing. So we'll be bringing you guys a lot of awesome, fun content and a little bit more of a personal, in depth, not just fish after fish. So you guys have more of a story, more entertainment, I guess I would say. So the you know I watch other people's story fishing, and some of it's them chatting in the garage or they're talking about this or that, and they may be going off for a few minutes before they get to fishing, and then part of the fishing might be joke telling or whatever. Then they'll might cap the video off and end with this or that. So I don't know. There's a more to the video, let's say, than just hey guys, we're catching them on this and that, you know, and catch you on the next one. And I've been saying this for a while now, so I'm thinking about. I tried from the shore, wasn't very successful, but I want to start trying to plan like episodes, let's say, or specific targeted goals, like. I want to catch X. I want to go jig fishing, or I want to try to put them on a jig bite. Now, if they're not biting the jig, I might have to switch up. But whatever they're biting on that day, and I start catching them, I need to focus on doing my video then on like why they're biting like that day. I believe what lure is working and what I did to come to that selection. Like what were some of the fails that I might have experienced, and even maybe incorporate some of them in the video. Because believe it or not, there's a ton of times where I hook fish and I dump them, or I snap them off, or and I got the video of it too. I just don't include it usually. I'm like, so I think it would be interesting to see if we get a different reaction, or maybe some more other viewers who are not used to the channel that are like watching it and get interested in it. So plus maybe just for you guys and gals too, some more actual impersonal content. That's not just here's a fish. So that's what the goal is for next year. So, but again, it's just this waiting game, waiting on that bass boat to come out the shop. Like, oh, so smash that like button if you guys get a chance. You're watching this far in the video. Do me a favor and hit that like button. What's up, Charles Chalk, and keeping it real in the house. Glad to see you guys on tonight. So I know I'm sorry I missed Friday. And what was it, Wednesday? I was trying to teach you guys and tell you guys about a brine, how to brine a turkey. And if you brine a turkey, and then you do it the day before, the night before, and then it's supposed to finish the night before, not the morning of. And then what you do is you take the turkey out the brine, you stuff it with all this shallots and onions and celery and all this good stuff. And it's not to eat, but it's a flavoring from the inside. And it'll get to a point where you'll eat your turkey and the meat, like in the middle, not the surface or whatever, it will literally taste just like super bomb flavoring. And it'll be juicy too. So I was all excited. I was trying to share that with you guys, and my internet connection got cut. So wah. I didn't get to share my Thanksgiving, my pre-Thanksgiving with you guys. So I was all sad, like But Friday I missed. Sorry about that, folks. And my birthday was Saturday, so I got to go fishing on a fishing trip. Just been hanging out. So here we are Monday. I've been painting, doing all kinds of honey-do list stuff at home. I've got a couple service calls I've got to run, but I'm going to be doing some work in the Bay Area. So I do heating and air conditioning. So this week's been kind of full and hectic, but we'll still be here for the live streams with you guys. It's just fishing content. I might have to do a couple breakdown or whiteboard videos until we could get back out on the water, because without my boat, it makes it kind of tricky. I'm in a lot of your guys' shoes now. And that's fine. I just have to like reinvent. Like, where am I going to go fish now? And then I have to like it, make a full day of it. And if it sucks at one spot, I got to go try to find another spot where I can catch them. So it becomes a game of cat and mouse. Like, for example, I was going up to Don Pedro. I bought minnows. I bought the Berkeley Gulp. I was all in my head. I was going to do the Berkeley Gulp versus the live minnow. And I threw it out there. I threw the live minnow. I threw the Berkeley Gulp. I got one bass on the Berkeley Gulp. And then nothing the rest of it. They wouldn't hit the minnows. It wouldn't hit it was tough. I couldn't get them. And I started catching trout. So I said, well, the hell with it. I'm just going to catch trout. But if I would have just gone up there solely to bass fish, it would have been a tough video, It happens. Yep. Your boat's going under the knife to be ready for 2022 season in January. That's the same here. I'm getting my boat tournament ready. So I'll be probably fishing against you guys, sucking. You know me, I'll be out there telling everybody when I'm catching my stuff on. And then come day of the tournament, I either won't stick to my game plan and I'll try something new, or like I'll get frustrated at like 10 minutes in and then change the game plan, or I'll stick to the game plan like religiously and then it completely failed because the fishing has changed or adapted. So those have been my lucks usually. Or I've been on it and I killed it and I lost all my game winning fish. Like, oh man, I should have won so many tournaments last year and I dumped so many night tournaments. I couldn't see the line rising. I couldn't see the fish coming to jump. I wasn't timing everything correctly. When they would jump, they would shake my jig like 3/4 of the time. I lost 5 and 6 pounders left and right on that thing. I was so frustrated. I was murking them with the jig. I should have used something else, but the jig bite was so good. I was just getting bit left and right and hooking fish and getting them halfway to the boat and then losing them, or getting them all the way to the boat and then losing them because me and the partner couldn't see where exactly they were at. And then they come up all of a sudden and shake the jig every time on that first jump. It's just, it was so annoying until I put two and two together on why I was, losing all my fish. So I made some adjustments. So if the jig bites on fire next year, I'll be fully prepared. And I got a lot of other tricks up my sleeve. So we'll see how it goes. I've got like 12 plaques. You can see right here is some Future Pro Tour one. And then right there's a Future Pro Tour one. I've got a bunch other. I haven't been doing good the last 2 years or year in the tournament circuit. Like I did okay. I'd finish just outside of the money all the time. And it was frustrating. But I was rusty, didn't have the same partner in different tournaments. Some tournaments I had no partners, just me. We'll see. 2022, I'm hoping, is going to be a much better year. So say a prayer for common sense fishing here in the channel. I love what I do. I love fishing. I love doing these videos with you guys. So say a prayer, help support the channel by subscribing, become a member if you can. It's just crazy tough and don't know what's going to happen with my wife and this vaccine mandate. So I'm not wanting to get political. I'm not going to talk about Biden or Trump or any of that crap. I'm just going to say it just sucks because some people medically can't get it, right? And there are exemptions and stuff like that, but you never know like if they will or won't. And it's all last minute. There's so much confusion going around. So it's pretty stressful right now too, in the fact that my wife may lose her job as a teacher next month. And then that would make me the only breadwinner. And right now, I'm able to do heating and air conditioning. I own my own company, but it's in the summertime. I'm crazy busy. But because I'm a new company, I'm not that busy yet because it's not that cold. So I don't have a ton of customers to do maintenances for, or to have them. Let's say they turn their heater on the first time this year and it didn't work. So I don't have a lot of that. So right now, someone's heater breaks, they can call 100 companies and everyone can be there tomorrow. So it's a little bit of a struggle, and having that has been a real has been a real bit of a stress on us lately. So just say a prayer. Hopefully everything's going to be all right. We're good people. We're just going to wing it, and we're hoping that if she does get fired, that she can just get a
Mm-hmm.
job with some other company doing anything just to bring in enough money to keep the bills paid for now until we can make another step or decision. And hopefully that won't be the case. And if it does, hopefully she can, God willing, she can find a job that will pay okay, and I'll be able to help out on my end. So we'll see how everything goes. But I do own my own house. So if I had to, I could sell it, and I have a good amount of equity in it, like almost 300,000. So I would be able to go buy a house somewhere in a different state. That doesn't mean the YouTube channel's got to stop, the live streams got to stop, but I don't want this to happen. I love it where I'm at. This is my family, my community's here. I've been raised here. I love the area, so it's a little bit of a stressful situation. So I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer. I just let you guys know tonight. So say a prayer for old common sense fishing, that we can just have some nerves of steel and make it through all this, and that whatever happens, we'll roll with the punches. That's my game plan. But hopefully, the punches won't be too severe like Tyson. His life's known for throwing some hard punches. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think everything will be all right. You just never know. So say a good old prayer for the channel for me, and we'll move on from that subject. But I'm hoping to be able to just put all that crap behind us and move back on with life in this channel and doing awesome things, because this just sucks, when you have that in the back of your mind, like where you got to try to juggle and figure out stuff. Like, what are we going to do? Be like, like, do I got to sell the boat? Like, hell no. That'll be the last thing that gets sold. I might sell the house and move before I sell the boat. Take the boat with us. We'll just go to another state or go to a cheaper house, I guess, right? So I don't know. It's always fun. So life throws curveballs at you. You get a plan, right? You get this game plan going on, and then life just comes over and wrecks like your whole little castle that you built. And you're like, but you can either like throw a big old fit about it, or you can take and rebuild, right? So that's just gonna happen sometimes. Life's not gonna always play by your rules. So, anyways, that's a little bit about behind the scenes, what's going on as far as why I've also been working so hard and so much is to try to put a little cushioning between us and what could happen in the next month or two, or else even with the boat in the shop, I'd probably be out fishing on shore and doing some more. I'd probably just go on a couple of chartered trips out to the ocean, to be honest. But yeah, life is a wonderful, unique thing, isn't it? It's not so cut and dry, simple, black and white. So it's always interesting to see what it'll throw at you next. But I keep a positive attitude, keep on doing what I'm doing, and we'll be there eventually. Grow this channel. I think with the memberships here, once we can get the channel at a certain amount, we're gonna have merchandise. So you guys are gonna get all kinds of stuff discounted. Plus, I'm never ever gonna forget you guys. For those of you guys and gals that help support this channel by subscribing, the ones that are hanging out with me, talking, as we grow and get bigger and better, I just would love to be able to do some cool things with this channel. I know I do this toy drive every year, right? And I look at these channels where these rich guys like have money and they give things away to people and they do things. Like I would so love to be in a financial boat one day where I'm doing okay for myself. And then what I could do is, of course, you could just take all that money and sock it away and just get richer and richer and richer. But you could get to a point where you have a couple homes, you have money in the savings, checkings, life insurances, you got business or whatever, you have income, you're good. All right, well, you can start taking what's coming in and taking most of that and putting it towards a good cause, not just for a tax purpose or anything, but just to genuinely give back. Because I don't need super yachts and all this and that. Now, would it be awesome to have a few homes, have a really nice couple of trucks or cars? But yeah, sure, property and blah blah, all the cool stuff. Yeah, yeah. But if you ever get to that point, what's next? I would like to be one of those guys that could take what I have and share it with people, which is why I like doing the giveaways. I like giving away my information, my tips and tricks, stuff that me and friends have spent years trying to figure out and that we've learned. I'll give it away in a heartbeat. Now, it doesn't mean you guys always listen, so I'm sure you do, and even then, doesn't mean I'm right either, because there's always different strokes for different folks. Some guys are a crankbait dude, some dude's a spinnerbait dude, or you know, we got different ways we're gonna like to fish. So although the crankbait may be the number one way we get double digits between me and my friends, double digits may be caught more off of swim baits or jigs or whatever have you for other people. But for us, it's been square bills and crankbaits have predominantly caught more 8 and 9 plus pound fish than any lure we've thrown, hands down. Now, do we throw big swim baits that often? Not that often, but some of our buddies do. And like I said, in the last few years, so many double digits have came off of crankbaits, particularly the Ish Monroe, Biggie Papa, and the smalls, bumping and silent. There's 4 different types. So I can't recommend this enough. The crackle, the cold-blooded craw, the Delta craw, and a couple of other of his are just magical. So, but there's times when a KVD Strike King will outperform an Ish Monroe. So always have a couple of each on your boat. That's what I'd recommend. And the Delta, Notorious Clear Lake, the Delta, those are just crankbait, man. A square bill any day, just cover water. You will stumble across big, hungry fish that will just crush that thing. Most of the year, not all the time. But see, we're all different. So I could blab and tell you all that, but then you may go out and catch your double digits on a jerk bait or on a jig or on a drop shot, right? So there's many different ways to fish. That's why I never act like mine's like, or the stuff that I know, like, oh, this is super epic knowledge. Like, I don't know if I'm sure everybody knows this crap. I'm just telling you what I've figured out over the course of this or that, right? Especially for those of you who fish the local lakes. I try to give you guys some heads up and advice. Hey, how's it going, Mr. Wheelchair Preacher? Sam, I am drinking from a can. So, anyways, it's been a wild ride. Oh, yeah, Ronald Roquemore from Georgia. I'm super, what was the word I'm looking for? I'm just so grateful, especially for you guys and gals who watch that aren't from around here, because sometimes it may think like, oh, he's only giving tips for lakes or area fishing stuff in his area. I'm telling you, fishing is fishing. If you try this stuff in your area, it's gonna work too. Now of course, there's different bodies of water. Some areas of shallower, dirtier water, but I've got experience fishing all that stuff, so I try to share. So for those of you who are watching, like Funkin' CT, RC Creative, Ronald Roquemore, all of you guys, and keeping it real too. I can't forget my supporters who are local that are like family to me too. Virgil, keeping it real, Jeff Garcia, got a lot of you guys that are big supporters of the channel. And then there's a lot of you like Clara, like a bunch of other of you guys who pop in, James David and a couple others who pop in here and there. I even have members who pay a monthly membership fee that don't really even jump on very often. They just support the channel. So big shout out to all of you guys, like Barefoot Bassin too, Pops World, all you guys out there. Like I know most of you guys either personally by name or face or Facebook stuff, But especially, like I said, you guys who are watching, who are from a different state, that tickles me every time to get on and see people from, like, we've had people on here from India, from the East Coast. We've had people from, terrible at fishings from Oregon. So I've had somebody on here from Mexico. So it's pretty cool to see different strokes from different folks, from just people just coming from all over the place. Basically, it just tickles my fancy. Yeah, I get all excited. So, no, hey Alan, nice to see you tonight. No boat yet. I'm been sad, so just been stuck fishing on shore every once in a while. I can't wait. All I can tell you guys though is if you just got here, I've been having a little bit of a tough time. Got out in a boat, and a little bird told me to fish shallower, and we started throwing jigs in 1 foot to about 15 feet of water, and started doing really good. So that's the little secret for tonight's video: is don't assume that these fish are suspended or out over open water. They may be, a lot of them may be. I can see there's a lot of trout out right now, so these bass, the real big ones, are probably out eating trout. But there's a ton of 1 to 3 pounders if you're out there to have fun or catch a limit, you're in a tournament. Don't sleep on fishing shallow with a jig. So yeah, it sucks. No boat yet. We're waiting on it. And as soon as it gets here, I plan on fishing a lot of different water that I haven't been fishing recently. So I know I've done a lot on McClure, Pedro, this and that. So I'm real excited to try to go fish the Los Banos Creek Reservoir. I'm going to go fish Lake Success. We're going to go be fishing Salt Springs when it opens up. So I'm excited next year. As soon as we get that boat back, we're going to get in tournament circuit, tournament series, and I'll go lose a bunch of tournaments on video. Hopefully, we'll get me winning one. That'll be nice. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right? Well, it's I'll tell you what, like, I respect him as a fisherman, but honestly, anyone that spends that much time out on those lakes is gonna know where the fish are at and what to do to at least have a good time. Because those fish are constantly moving and shifting, so it's being on them and understanding where they're at. Once you put them together, you can have fun killing them for days and days at a time, just cycling through different spots on the lake, fishing a similar pattern. Like, for example, catching them from 1 down to about 15 feet or so with a jig, and then just go around and look for main lake points with rock or hard bottom, look for steep walls and toss jigs and cover water. And when you go through an area and you don't do too good, skip areas that look similar. When you start smacking them, you start patterning them, you start looking for other similar areas, and you'll get them. And also found, for some weird reason, the West Bank is not seeming to hold as many fish right now as the East Bank. And so I think it has something to do with the temperatures and the sun. I think that I'm finding a lot of fish. What's happening is that as soon as that sun comes up, it starts pounding that East Bank, and it's hitting that East Bank all day. That West Bank gets some when the sun comes up, but as soon as the sun gets about noon or so, it doesn't hit that West Bank anymore. So it gets a lot less. While the East Bank gets sun all the way from sun up to sundown, basically. Um, and They may be up there chewing on crawdads or just sunning in the rocks or doing some of the bait fish may be up there. I have no idea. All I know is that there is a ton of fish right now in the 1 to like 15-foot range. Now I would assume the very first cold snap that we get right now, the weather's consistently been in the upper 60s and lower 70s in town. So up in the hills, it might be a little cooler. But as soon as we get a snap where we get into the 50s in the daytime, those fish are going to push off and move down. I'll bet my bottom dollar on it. But right now, there's a ton of them up shallow. And I would assume the bigger fish, 5 plus, are probably out in the trout range, suspended. We see a lot of explosions. We'll see trout leaping and jumping like not normal, like they're chasing, like they're getting away from something. And the movements would be real, like one jump this way and then an immediate jump like exactly what something looks like when it's trying to get away from a predator. I've seen it constantly the last few trips I've been out there. So the trout are all rising up. The big trouters are focusing on those. So it's really hard to catch anything over 3 pounds right now. But you're finding a lot of decent fish are right there up at the shore. That would be my guess. If you're catching something over three, you're probably catching them out suspended, catching the trout eaters on swim baits or maybe jerk baits or whatever, crank baits, A rigs, something out in that range. Because I know the fish aren't all doing the same thing, but I know the fun to catch ones and the numbers were all up shallow. And like I said, thanks to the little bird for helping put me on those. So, hey, Cam, say, how's it going? What up? But it's nice to see Alan on tonight, Barefoot Bassin, Ronald, Mr. Wheelchair. We've been seeing Kamse a lot lately. Thanks for joining and jumping on. I'm glad to see you guys on. And if you're new here on the channel, smash that subscribe and like button. So thanks to everybody. This is where we have a cool little community. We share info, tips, and tricks. We just try to help out. But right now, like that's the main ticket for fishing wise. I would say don't sleep on fishing shallow. Bottom contacts, a focus on jigs and stuff more than a drop shot or a Ned rig. So if you really want to go finesse, shaky head, Ned rig, something that's on the bottom. It seems to be like whenever my bait is moving a little too much, even if it's moving slow and I'm just like flipping it out, but I'm barely moving it, they're not really seeming to want it. They want it a little more subtle and slow. And that's been like, even when I was getting them on the drop shot, I had to drag it. And with the jig, I was getting them, I'd get a few when I'd hop it, a foot or two hop, and then I'd get a little. But most of my bites were coming when I was just crawling my jig along, and I'd feel my jig crawl, hit a rock, maybe crawl up it, and then fall off, and then sit there for a second, and I'd feel, and that would be it. Boom. And I'd have to say, man, I really do like using fluoro, but I've been snapping a lot of fish off that require really good hook sets. I have to start going with mono on my jig because I throw what's up, beer? You want my beer? Oh, you want a beer? How many? Just one? Oh, okay. You have two if you want. There you go. I don't care. I don't need 6. I've already had 2, so 4 will be all right. 2, 4, 6, whatever. I need to go to Oroville. Oh, I would love to. Just not from shore. It sucks right now. If I'm going to go fish anything from shore, there's a couple spots on the Delta I'd probably go fish, or the Mother Lode Lakes. Just something close and comfortable. You know what I mean? Or go get some live minnows and go sit somewhere and just catch some fish on video with you, for you guys, just for fun. But because this channel isn't meant to be a shore fishing channel, although I got no problem what if I lost my boat? I got no problem doing it, but that's not my my MO, not what I'm after. But yeah, so when it comes to shore fishing, I got to really pick my locations where I can pull up with a car so that if I do walk around, it's as close to the car as possible. So then if I'm going to walk and I've got to hike a mile from my car to the spot, I'm not going to have a lot of energy to fish around and then have to walk all the way back. But if I could pull right down up to the water, I can walk all over the place. You know what I mean? Like Eastman. Eastman's really easy when it's real low like that. I can pull out on my truck and pull out onto any of those dirt flats that aren't like mud and just set up and then walk the shoreline and drag a jig. Eastman would probably be a good place to go right now and throw a jig. The lake's so low, they're not holding tournaments there. It's really tough to fish sometimes, but guys from shore are still stroking 5-6 pound bass here and there. So I might go there, try something like that. But, it's hit and miss. And right now, it's like my heart isn't all the way fully invested in it right now because I'm still stressing. We're still figuring out what's going to happen with the whole, vax mandate and my wife being a teacher and blah, blah, blah. So, there's things we're still worried about. So when it comes to fishing, I just like it to be easy and chill right now. I can't wait to get the boat out. Then yeah, I'd like to go to Oroville. I'm planning on going to Lake Trinity. I'm planning on going back up to Bullard Bar. I want to go hit the Los Banos Creek Reservoir. I'm talking about hitting Lake Success. I'm talking about hitting Salt Springs Valley. We'll be hitting up Clear Lake for sure. I haven't done a Berryessa video for you guys yet, so we're going to have to be out at Berryessa. A couple of these like Pardee and New Maloney's are going to have to get a few more visits. We're going to probably leave McClure and Pedro alone for this next year, although I do know those lakes very well. So come spring, I might go double-digit hunting there, seeing if I can find a couple Mondo bass. But we'll see how it goes. I'm more concerned with fishing some new fresh water and getting the brand and the name out there because, I think I'm pretty well known here in the little Central Valley area, but I'd like to go start getting my feet wet in the Delta more, the Clear Lake, and really smallmouth and branch out and do some stuff. So I'm excited. Also, like I said, you know what? Right now might be the best thing to do since I'm stuck shore fishing is just strap a couple GoPros on and go do a deep sea fishing trip and go catch some salmon or some halibut or something or whatever's in season right now and go on a charter out of like Santa Cruz or Monterey or something and go see if we can catch something. You know what I mean? This ain't Florida, so it's not easy to go out and just throw out for sharks or this or that. Rancho Seco, good suggestion. Rancho Seco is the little power plant out by Sacramento, kind of Elk Grove or whatever, going out into the country there. And I fished it as a kid. I haven't fished it yet on this channel. So good recommendation. Exactly, Rancho Seco, stuff like that. So I'm excited for what next year will bring. Hopefully, we'll get some growth on the channel, and we'll get some momentum going on, and we'll get to offer some better things and better videos, especially for the members. So I know we do giveaways once a month, and members get early access. But I want to start rewarding, like there's different tiers of members. So I'm going to start like sending, maybe gift packs or tackle packs out to the higher end members every other month or something like that, or twice a year, while the other guys won't get something. We're going to be doing like one-on-one live streams as the channel gets more popular, hopefully, and that'll be a sought after thing, let's say. For the meantime, I appreciate everybody's support, whether you're a subscriber, a member, a viewer, whatever. So just do me a favor if you can, smash the like button. And if you're new, smash that subscribe button so you can come check out the rest of the stuff. But those of you who've been here, returning viewers, you guys know the deal. We try to chill, we talk-ish, have fun, crack jokes, drink beer, and Monday through Friday, this is a great place to get a little bit of some fishing information about what's going on and the local community too here. So if you're interested or you have any questions, I may not be able to provide them, but maybe somebody in the chat could. So that's always a great thing about the Common Sense Fishing community. My Ring doorbell is just going off. I'm on the big screen tonight. Hell yeah. Woo woo. I didn't do my makeup all Anderson Cooper style. I don't look TV worthy with all them megapixels and whatnot. Sweet. I just got a text from my boy, so I got to input his in here. Add to contacts. He just got a new phone, so boom, gonna save it. All right, perfect. All right, sorry about that, but yeah, we had a great recommendation from Mr. Wheelchair Preacher, Rancho Seco. Awesome spot to fish right there. Now, oh, excuse me. Any let's say questions, any topics you guys want to talk about tonight, because we got the last hour here. It's 8:08, so we try to get some nice tips and tricks in. Buckle your seatbelts if you guys want to go down some rabbit holes, talk about anything else not fishing related or fishing related, but you guys want to talk about some different things, topics. Feel free to fire away. I'm happy to go off, and chat about anything, or the community might as well. However, in the absence of all that, I'm always happy to just yap at the tube, so to speak, and give you guys what information I can. Excuse me. And I've predominantly went to fluoro for a lot of reasons on a lot of my different setups, for sensitivity, for lack of stretch, so that when I set the hook, I don't have to set the hook as hard, so that if I get caught slipping and I catch a bite in an awkward position, my pole tip's too high, excuse me, I still have a much higher likelihood of sticking these fish. However, with the fluoro, I have snapped off more fish in the last few years than I have in a long time. And so we're going to do a little experiment here. I could probably Google it and see what the pros say, but I'm hard headed. And I'm also I like to learn myself, because then I feel like I discovered something, right? I could go to the pros, I could go to somewhere, and I could be like, well, what's better for a jig? Fluoro or mono, right? Because then some guys are going to say this, some guys might say that. But I have a sneaking suspicion that with the right gear, fluoro can be the best. However, with any kind of phrase, or the leverage just being not 100% perfect, and if you have, when you go to set the hook, if there's slack in the line and you pull on a slack and it goes tight all of a sudden, I mean, I don't know how many times I've snapped off fish like that with the fluoro. So I think we're going to be trying mono, that has that stretch, forgiveness, and hopefully we'll see if there's any kind of differences on my hookup ratio, which it might be. And you guys might be laughing at me and said, oh, of course, mono's better. But I'm very unorthodox, and I fish some techniques. I fish with line and gear that is probably the pros, or people would say is not best suited for it. The reason that I do is because, for example, my LV500 I use on a much heavier rod than some people. I use fluoro instead of mono. And the reason for that is because I can do like a drop shot hook set. So whenever I get bit and I feel a little tap, I can immediately just start reeling and the fish gets caught. And where that comes in handy is cold water techniques, when I'm using those LV500s and the fish aren't jamming around chasing it, but they're real lethargic, and they see a drop shot go by, a jig go by, and they don't touch it. My LV goes, right? It can force that bass almost into at least attacking or eating it or nipping it. And a lot of the times when I'm doing that technique, it's really cold December, January, February, the bite is microscopic. It's just, that's it. Big fish, just one little tap. And I know exactly what that is. I know that it's a fish every time. So all I do is I just reel, lift up and reel. And I use a high speed reel. I use fluoro. So as soon as I do that, those treble hooks just lock right into that fish. And I don't set the hook, so I don't snap them. But when I'm using my jig, though, I'm snapping a lot of bass, especially after I've caught a few. Get any phrase in your line, and I snapped a lot of big fish, big bass off, where I could feel like, oh, pop, and then it breaks. Like I set into it and it feels like a snag that lifts up and then it dives and then snap. And my drag was good too. It just gave a little bit too much force because that fluoro cuts on itself. And then another thing I've noticed with bait casters is whenever you get any kind of backlash or any kind of where the line's crossed itself, and then you have a fish pull, you get a hook set, that line digs into itself and it marks it and it scores it. And there'll be times I'll cast a mile, and half of my line goes out, and I've got a big couple of nasty uh, frays in my line in the middle of my damn line where it shouldn't have been. Like, where did that come from? That came from the reel, from the line in the reel. So I started to really learn that fluoro, it really has its place. You got to know when and where to use it. And I use it, I think, predominantly more than I should be. And I use it on most lures. So um, it's time, I think, to do a little bit of exploratory videos, and we'll take you guys along and we'll learn. I think it's fun doing that because even though the pros may say this, the pros may say that, we all wonder, are they lying? What's really the truth? Are they being real with us? Because there may be a magazine that says this or that, or a trope that says this or that, but what's really going on? It's like Mythbuster style. We'll go out there and maybe we'll take a half a day. We'll take two different identical poles, two different identical reels, and one will be fluoro, one will be mono, and we'll throw the same jig on both, and we'll see what the hookup ratio and loss ratio, and we'll examine the fish when we catch them. It's one of the things I was noticing was happening when I was losing all my fish. When I did get them in, I would notice my fish had giant gaping gashes in them from my hook sets because I use a particular jig maker. B. Zhang's one of my favorite jig makers because he makes them the way I request them. I do not like a weed guard. No weed guard, just that straight, sharp ass hook. So when I get bit, don't just won't. I don't need to raw. I just lift up, and just that lift up locks this baby in perfect. I don't need to really viciously hook set. And being all of us, most of us, right? When we get that bite, boom, we get excited, which I do sometimes. And I was noticing I was bringing these fish in, and whenever I caught them, they'd have these giant like gape, and the hook would just be loose in there. So I started setting the hook softer, and it was really helping out. But it's hard to do that every time. And then if you don't set it hard enough, sometimes you don't hook them. So it was like a conundrum. And then if you hook too hard, you snapped your line a lot because fluoro will cut in on itself. So with these bigger weights and with this jig, I'm gonna get out there. We're gonna throw some mono on the rods again, and it's probably too a lot of the gear that I'm using a stiffer rod, bigger rod, while sometimes a shorter rod with maybe a little bit of a faster tip, might help, and a strong parabolic, not bend, but where it's core, where it bends at the tip and not much at the core, like a crankbait rod won't bend much at the tip. It bends in the middle like this, and then we'll bow over. So crankbait rod will go like this. Then when you get bit, and then when you hook up, it bites and then it loads. Right? Parabolic is usually when they bend. If I remember correctly, I'm burned out, but it's where it bends in the middle, like where its bend is at, right? And how flexible it is at what part of the rod. So a fast tip is going to usually have a stronger backbone, but a faster tip. So those are rods usually you're going to want with a little more sensitivity, but they got that backbone. And I'm just jacking their jaws so damn hard. So we're gonna have some fun. We'll figure some stuff out, even if I'm stuck on shore. What I tried to do was do the gummy worm challenge, and it failed miserably because I ate them all, and I only put like one or two gummy worms on the hook and lost it. Like I casted one off. And so, yeah, I used to run mono, but I had a lot of bad luck. But I think it was the gear that I was using, the particular rod and reel. And then the mono, the line just seems to have real bad memory and casting. It floats, so my jig takes longer to get to the bottom. Just mono's just always had so many negatives for me. It was just so like stiff, like flexible, but just like fishing with wire. Like it was like it had memory, really easy. It seemed like. Um, Now I know fluoro has bad memory. Like if you kink it, that kink is always there, right? But just mono in my reel. would always maintain this loop, right? And then it would create those little spinning knots really easy in my spinning reels. Um, yeah, and I'm thinking, see, I used to fish with a lot of spinning gear, and mono is just freaking annoying to use in spinning gear. So I've used it more in my bait casters and enjoyed it quite a bit. But there was a point in time where I was frustrated with it on my long casts because I would make these big old long bomb and search casts, and I would use certain lures like the jig or the LV, and I'd get bit a half a mile out and set the hook, and sometimes it just wouldn't dig in. That was one of the annoying things I do remember about mono is whenever I had a long cast and I had a hook set on a fish. So a lot of the times I wouldn't get my hook dug in. So there's pros and cons, but we're going to try that. We're going to go run to that. We'll see if it makes any differences, but I'm pretty set on using fluoro with my rattle trap though, and my medium heavy setup that I got. Now that's using it the way that I use it as a jig or a ripping bait to rip out of hydrilla and weeds. I like that heavy frame, so that I just and then no stretch, so it just tears it out. But I don't like braid, so I like fluoro, usually 12 to 15 pound test if I'm throwing it on an LV 500. Um, but 6 to 8 if I'm running it on like a drop shot or shaky head or Ned rig or something like that. 10 pound on certain stuff, 10 to 12 on Texas rig and certain other baits. But yeah, I need to. And also, I'll be very honest with you guys. I'm just also a human, and I'm lazy. One of my biggest downfalls is that I may know what's right, but I still do the easy thing, which is I think a lot of us in life, where I know that this pairs better with top water, and that this pairs better with oh, for sure. I'll hit you up, brother. If you're still watching, I'll hit you up. Otherwise, I'll message you in a minute. But yeah, I'd appreciate it. Any fishing trips I can get out in someone else's boat, I'm happy to go. So if anyone ever wants to take me fishing, let me know in advance so I can make sure that I'm not doing any work or anything. And yeah, I love getting out there fishing. So it's been tough, but fishing from shore has been a challenge, especially, this exact time of year because I like making bottom contact or bottom bouncing or drop shotting. And when you're fishing steep stuff, it's easy to pull your lures into snags. I did some whiteboard videos about this last year. So there's some ways to do it, but when you're bottom bouncing, pulling your lure uphill is extremely tricky and you have to be very sensitive to the feel. And then there's specific things you have to do in specific situations. If you feel you've come into contact with wood, you've got to do something different in order to pop over it. If you feel you've dug into a rock, there's a different way to get it out. If you're coming up a rock or boulder, different ways to work your stuff. So bottom bouncing's been it's been a headache though the last like few trips from shore because I've been getting snagged a lot because I've been so used to my boat, and I prefer to fish the other way. Where if I want to cast, doesn't matter if I'm deep fishing, shallow fishing, I pull my boat out as far away as I can, and I'll cast till I could barely reach shore. Then I'll work my lure all the way down. That way, I can hop it, swim it, I can crawl it. But if I'm working it the other way, um, I'm going to get snagged a lot. Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret is my buddies would kill me, but sometimes that's our tournament winning trick. Is take the boat, pull it real close to shore, cast out like you're fishing from shore, and bring your lures uphill because they will constantly be making contact with the bottom, digging and banging into stuff, and fish will see that and want to pin it and attack it a lot more than a lure that is going like this. And then when it goes over here, it goes, and then but when you're bringing it up, you're like clink, bring it up, clink, then a rock, and then you try to pop it, You can't really get much vertical. You just pop it in like this. You bring it in towards you, right? While you do it this way and you give a nice pop, your lure can start swimming in the water column. So sometimes they really want that lure pulled up towards the shore, not the other way around. That can be also a big difference sometimes where you go fishing half the day, you can't catch shit. And then you're like, what's going on? Pull your boat up shallow and cast out deep and work it in. So hopefully those tips and tricks help. But yeah, I'm excited for what next year will bring and what the future holds if it turns out in a positive manner, which I do believe it will. I'm a positive fellow. I like to look at things. The glass is half full instead of half empty, and I think we're going to get there and see some good things. Hopefully, win a couple tournaments this year, grow the channel, and open up some new avenues. Like as far as it would be nice to get to fish with some other YouTubers to grow the channel and the influence and who we're getting to watch, and also make some new buddies or friends that way. That'd be cool too. But that's not why I do this. Not in it for fame, not in it for clicks or views. Just to have a good time, have a good community, and chat about fishing and life and other cool stuff. And you know, just play it by ear because that's how I do life. You could make a real complicated plan, and life will come in and just screw your plan up. So if you're really really good at just adapting and winging it and making decisions on the fly, that is how you should always do. Some things you need to absolutely plan, plot out, and life doesn't destroy everything. But it doesn't hurt to be able to take an L or to take a bad situation and turn it into a good situation, or to make do with what you have, or to be able to take a lump. Nobody wants to, but if you can't take a lump and then you get hit and you get knocked out, right? But if you can take a lump and you get hit, it sucks, but you keep on trucking, right? You get the analogy. So I try to look at it that way. But also, I look at it like we might get to use this opportunity to produce some different content, and we might bring new people to the channel who think, or I don't know, maybe shore fishermen don't like watching bass guys and bass boats. I don't know. Maybe we'll attract more normal fishermen, or not normal, but shore fishermen. The average Joe guy out there catfishing or striper fishing or something. Because I'd love to have everybody watching the channel. I could do a couple of bait fishing videos. I've got some really good tips bait fishing wise. My uncle, in my opinion, is still to this day one of the best bait fishermen I've ever seen around. And he taught me two or three distinct tips about bait fishing that I stick with me even to this day. And those two mainly are learn how to tie up your bait onto your hook so it doesn't get pulled off with the first bite or two, so that you have much more of a chance of the fish actually putting the whole bait in their mouth or the hook in their mouth so that you can hook them. And then if they eat half of it, you still got more on there. Versus if you just put your bait onto your hook, you cast it out. Sometimes the act of hitting the water breaks all the bait off of your hook. Like if you're using a shad or an anchovy or a minnow bait or cut bait or chicken liver or whatever have you. You need to tie that up with that magic yarn or some thread and give it a few spools. You give it too much and you can interfere with setting the hook. Another thing is always anticipate that you're going to get a bite. So don't set your pole down and don't use a bell, because you could have a 10-pounder just grab that thing and just take it. A monster, giant, even bigger than that, a little guy, whatever have you. But sometimes that first bite or two is really the committed bite. And then if they don't get it, they're kind of suspicious. They might come back and peck at it. They might not come back at all. So if you expect to get bit, what my uncle would do is he'd cast his chicken livers out there. I'd cast mine out there, and we'd be holding our pole. And he'd sit down. He'd have himself a little chair. He'd just sit down and then hold the pole like this and just sit there. And then I'd try, and I'd get hella bored. And every time, sure enough, what do you think would happen? I would either have a pole holder, I'd have something, and I'd set it up, and then I'd put my bell on. And the second I do that, I'd get bit, ding, 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 and then I'd pick it up and try to catch the fish, gone, right? And or I'd get bit real hard, boom, 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 pick it up, ready to set the hook, gone, or set the hook, nothing, just woof, air. Like, what the hell, right? And my uncle would just be sitting there smug, get a bite, boom, catches fish every time, like bass fishing but bait. So he'd just hold his rod. He didn't use no damn rod holder, and I never, barely ever seen this dude miss a fish. Like if he set the hook. There was a fish at the other end almost every time when he was done setting the hook. He'd have a fish on. He didn't miss a lot of fish. So super important if you're expecting to catch a fish. Why the hell do you have a freaking rod holder for? Get your rod in your hand, unless it really takes that long in some instances. Sure, you can actually start timing it sometimes. Or when you start catching, you get to a spot, you make a few casts. You make a cast, you let it sit there. It takes a half hour, 20 minutes. But then once you start getting bit, you cast to the next spot, you get bit within a few minutes. Sometimes it takes a minute for the bait to pull the fish to you. But, that was one thing I never forgot about. He's still alive. But my Uncle David, he taught me hold that rod if you're bait fishing. So, anyways, these shore fishing might give me an opportunity to do a few things outside the box and hopefully grow the channel and get some new people in here. But I love all you same old folks too, though. Just want to be hopefully growing. That's the idea, right? Want to make sure we grow the channel. Also want to be entertaining and make sure that I'm giving you guys bang for your buck. So appreciate you spending your time with me. That's why I want to make sure I try to give out the best fishing tips and tricks. BS, have fun, shoot the breeze. I read all the comments, so I'm very interactive. That way, if there's stuff you guys and gals want to talk about, I'm always here. And, we don't always do that, but occasionally we'll go off topic and we'll talk about anything here. We'll go down a couple rabbit holes. Usually that's for my other channel, Common Sense Talks, but really, of course, this is a fishing channel, but if you guys, the members and the viewers, start commenting stuff, me, I'm going to start talking about stuff. And then if you're not new here and me, then once you get me started, I don't usually stop. I just keep going. Remind me of the time when Beavis and Butthead were trying to get high and they didn't have any beer or drugs or anything. They're these teenagers, right? And so they were trying to catch a buzz. And they found an old monster truck tire in the back of the old 7-Eleven type spot. So their idea is they're going to ride in the tire and spin around and get dizzy and get high. So Butthead, of course, tells Beavis, push me up the mountain. So Butthead jumps in the tire. Beavis pushes him. It takes all day, right? It takes forever. Tire's going real slow. Butthead's like, this is lame. I'm not really high or nothing, right? Beavis gets in. Now it's his turn to go down the mountain. And Butthead just slaps the tire and it goes all the way down and it runs into Todd. I think Todd beats him up. Oh, it's funny. Sometimes, that's what it feels like. Bank fishing on Whiskey Slough on high tide has been good for you. Oh, nice. Appreciate it, Kamze. So, yeah, bank fishing, I'm down to go wherever. But one place I'll tell you about, if you're bank fishing and you're near the Delta, me and my buddy used to go and get monsters. After Wednesday nighters, you can go Wednesday around midnight or go late or go there Thursday anytime, Thursday, Friday. And right next to the ramp, the launch ramp on the right-hand side is this little hole. And there's a dock that runs out towards the marina one way. And then there's a dock that goes the other way. And there's a rock wall. There's this big Christmas tree. And there's a trash can. You can walk down. There's this little pocket. Just take a bottom bouncer, like a drop shot, a U-head, Texas rig, Cinco, whatever, and cast it and work it parallel and work it real slow. every night when the Wednesday nighters let their bass go, some of the biggest bass will pull around and sit in this premier spot, and they'll recover right there. The biggest fish will always take that spot. And there's two locations on each side of the docks where the rowboat people launch on the other side towards the yachts and all that, and then where their little repair shop's at right there at Ladd's. Buckley Cove is where I'm talking about. I just remembered. I don't think I told you guys where. They will sit up on the sides, and that ramp, the ramp goes down like this, right? And it's cement. It goes into the delta. Well, on the side of that ramp are big, giant rocks that go all the way down, and they're on both sides. And you can go there and you just take your time, fish, fish take half hour, 45 minutes, make it 100, 200 casts. They're there, and they'll bite eventually. You just drag some bottom bouncer along right there or throw crankbaits. But usually it's an easy way to get something 5 to 8 pounds. The biggest fish or two of the tournament will always sit right there. And then even when there isn't tournaments, they'll sit right there because when the tide moves, it washes around that dock and those ramps and goes around all those rocks and stuff. And they'll sit right there in that corner where that trash can's at Buckley Cove, where you launch out. There's a trash can, and you can kind of walk down. There's a little hole right there. Always holds monster fish right there. That and the other thing I would say is you can get in trouble. You can get in trouble, so you either have to know somebody there or you have to fish it from a boat, or get your boat and then pull up and get out of your boat. But Ben Holt at night is killer. Just take a Cinco and dead stick it or barely drag it and fish the docks and the slips. Multiple monsters over 5, 6 pounds, 7, 8 pounds. Good monsters. My first double digit came out of there. So Ben Holt's just a killer spot if you can fish from shore. But yeah, I know. See, the thing is, for my lazy butt, it's like, okay, I've got all this stuff going on in life. And it's like, should I pack up all my crap and go shoot a shore video at a couple of these? When you go to the Delta, usually there's like this one hole or two you could fish from. I'm not very used to fishing along the sloughs and the other stuff because some of them, they say you can't park, can't fish, you get harassed or messed with. And I just usually don't do that kind of stuff. I think I have a good idea where I could probably go get a few. I'll be right back. Let me go take a leak. I got to go piss. I'm doing the piss dance. Give me a second, folks. All right. So yeah, the Delta is probably a spot I could really go do good at from shore, but and actually catch some big fish, and probably have the videos get a decent amount of views too. It seems like the current crop of viewers, most of the older ones, anyways, are the ones who are just like, because I have like almost 2,000 subs now, but I've got the guys that religiously watch the live streams, and a lot of you guys watch my regular videos too. But you can tell, sometimes some videos are just much more popular than others, and usually the Delta does real good. A lot of people just don't want to see me trout fishing or carp fishing or shore fishing, or they just don't get clicks. I don't know. I'm not very good with my thumbnails because, look, I try to make a good quality product out there fishing, good tips and tricks, try to make sure the screen's clean as best I can. And then I come back and I edit it and I chop it all up. But I'm not really big into like putting all kinds of effects or things and thumbnails or outlining guys and like trying to get like real clickbaity. You know what I mean? So it's like launch off of Mossdale is open. Ooh, I don't know if that one is open or not. LBC, Los Banos Creek. Is that what you see in LBC? LBC, if I remember correctly, is horrible shore fishing, isn't it? You pull down that shore on the right's all steep and garbage, and there's that tiny little launch. There's all the sticks and like bush and stuff like that. And then if you go the other side, it's just a big like dam with rocks, big old chunk rocks. And then I think you can fish the other side, but you got to walk there. It's been a long time since I fished LBC from shore. So when I used to, here's a real true story: is LBC is the beach, Long Beach. You got me confused because I was thinking about Los Banos, not Los Banos Forebay, Los Banos Creek, right? If you're talking about Los Banos Creek Reservoir, dude, that place has got some monsters, some double digits in it. It's got monster fish in it. And also there's a pond at the bottom. So obviously, when I didn't have a boat then, when I used to fish there, I would exclusively park and go and fish down the spillway at the pond. So are we, Racho, real quick? Are you, when you say LBC, are you talking about Los Banos Creek Reservoir? Or are you talking about Long Beach, or you talking about like a different spot? Because I'm thinking LBC up by Los Banos, the detention dam that's got the big rocky, you know, spillway slash dam. Yeah, right. Okay. I don't know. I'm not. I'm a burnout. I think because I'm used to the lake being at a certain level, and then you got to go like around up real high to go from like around that the big rocky dam, the big rock wall, and on top of that, and then sometimes you go real down to the launches on the right. It's past the boat ramp on the right. Huh? I don't know if I've ever seen that. Maybe. Yeah, I've heard that they don't allow two-stroke motors, but mine is a it's a high efficiency two-stroke. So I've looked it up. Mine qualifies. It can go anywhere the non two strokes can. It has a little sticker on the back, and it's oil injected. So instead of mixing the oil into the gas, I have a oil reservoir on my motor, and then my motor mixes the oil with the gas, and I have this special sticker on the back. And I read up onto it because when I was going to buy it, I was like, "What, two stroke? What the hell?" And I know some places they don't allow two stroke, but I read in the exemptions or in the law basically that those are for the traditional two stroke. So if you have a fuel, or sorry, not fuel, if you have an oil injected two stroke with the star sticker, and it, you know, was made after a certain date, you're okay. And my boat is a 2007, I want to say. So it's a brand new, not brand new, but it's a 2007 Mercury motor. So yeah, it's two stroke, but I've been in Los Banos Creek Reservoir with my two stroke motor. So I know that you're not, they say that you're not allowed to, but it depends on if you have the high efficiency version. Now that's what I've been told. I don't know if I'm 100% correct or not, but I read it in the rules, and nobody's ever called me on it too because my boat looks like it's a four stroke, like you couldn't tell. Yeah, 2001 and newer, I believe. Yep. Yeah, mine's one of those. It's a 2007. So luckily I can take that one in there because I've been in LBC before with my boat and I've cracked them. I've had a ton of fun out there. Los Manos Creek Reservoir is freaking awesome. it's a great place to fish. So I have to take that in advisement because see, I haven't been there in so long to fish from shore. Because I'd love to go fish there from shore. Is what I used to do as a kid. Is we'd go and instead of pull down by the boat ramp, we'd park up at the top by the spillway, and we would just go walk to the spillway, and we'd walk down the spillway, and you walk all the way down the spillway, and there's a ladder on the spillway that you can crawl up, and then it drops you right down onto the ground, and you have about three different spots you can fish this pond. It's a private little, nobody knows about it pond. So the areas you can fish from where the spillway goes right into the pond, and you can take and fish the cement ramp where the water goes to it. There'll be a ton of fish in there, and then we'll go and we'll climb that ladder, go onto the side, and then there's a rocky point. There's like kind of a small beach, and then there's another wall that you can go out upon. But if you get too high up, you make too much noise, the rangers hear you. It's a no trespassing place. So we used to go out there and fish it all the time until we started getting tickets. The rangers started catching us and giving us warnings and blah blah, and then they got sick of it and they actually gave us money, tickets. And that was a pain in the ass. So ever since then, I haven't been back. But that's how I'd fish that place from shore. So I wasn't aware of like all the beachy spots because I just remember when I did take my boat down there, I remember near the boat ramp, it's just like full of bush and tree. And it was like this tiny, short little midget boat ramp. And it was like, well, there's not much room here, but I mean, I launched out fine, had a good time. But, that'd be cool. I'd love to go fish LBC for sure. Throw some Cincos, throw a spinnerbait, slow roll, chatterbait, and an LV 500. And go get out there. And also a drop shot if I had to, if it gets tough, drop shot Ned rig. But hey, Kamze, thanks for jumping on. Always good to chat with you guys. Tony, it's good to see you on. I don't know if I've seen you on before, Tony Duran, so I'm glad to have a fresh name and person in here tonight. And if you have been before, my apologies for not remembering. I try to remember most of my viewers. Right now, the channel's, excuse me, at a spot where, like I said, we're at almost 2,000. But the people who watch the live stream, I know almost everybody's name who comments. You know what I mean? So welcome to the channel. Maybe consider subscribing, smash that like button. We talk about all kinds of cool stuff here. So shout out to was it Kamzy, right? Or who was the one that saw LBC? Was that Racho? One of you guys were talking about LBC at first. That's a real good spot. Alan was talking about fishing Oroville, and Oroville's got a ton of numbers like Shasta. Oroville can be really fun. I went to Oroville a couple times and had some really good times out there. And I got my ass kicked at Oroville twice. Oroville put the hammer down on me twice, and then a couple times I did good. So, direct injection two-stroke engines made since 1999 are considered clean emissions. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is 99 then, and can be used on every water body in California with some exceptions not related to emission limits. Good. Yeah, I think it's the electric motor only lakes, right? Like the ones where you can only take a trolling motor, or you can't have any form of big motor in there. I think those are the ones I can't go into. Yep, the CARB, the California Air Resource Board emission regulations, 2004 to 2008. Yep, you know your stuff, buddy. So yeah, it's exactly. I got the little star sticker on there, so I'm like, I'm lucky. I was paranoid when I was going to buy the boat because the guy said two-stroke and it looked brand new. Like when I bought it, it was in great condition. It's a 2007, and I bought it in like 2017 or 18. No, I bought it in 2019. Shoot. So it was 12 years old, but the people I bought it from had never really taken it out. So the damn thing had like barely any engine hours on it. It was immaculate. The carpet's clean, no scrapes and scratches on it. And in the 2 years that I've had that baby, almost three now, oh, I feel so bad. I beat that I beat that poor girl up. She needs some loving. I need to pay for somebody to do a real good detail and clean her out and all that. Hey, Charles Chalk, good night, buddy. Yeah, Racho is a cool dude. Racho's been here on the channel for a long time. He's a stick for sure. I'm always chatting, online. He's always showing up, so it's always good to see Racho on here. Him and his son doing pretty good in the tournament circuits. Uh, I've had a lot of good fortune on this channel to meet a lot of good people. Matt Frazier, Nick Smith. Nick the Informative Fisherman. Of course, Ryan Cook. I fish with him a bunch. Um, Team Mason. We've done a lot of things to help Mason out. Uh, so good folks all around. You know what I mean? And I've got to meet guys like Racho, like Victor Juarez, just a lot of these cool dudes on here. Virgil Hidalgo, he's a really cool dude. Um, Marco Houston, James Dave, RC Creative actually came out from the East Coast, and he was visiting his family. And I made it a point to drive up to Sacramento, like 2.5 hours, and I met him. And we were hopefully going to go do some boat fishing. We didn't know really where to go, what to do. It was kind of like night fishing last minute. So we just left the boat in the driveway and we went to like the American River, did some catfishing, had some fun, hung out. So I've actually got to spend a lot of time with a lot of the viewers here. You guys are great people. So shout out to you guys, Common Sense Fishing Community, the local Merced fishing community too, the county here. And most of the guys, you guys are just pretty good dudes, I got to say. A lot of you guys, I really am a better person for meeting and knowing. And doing these like toy drives has been fun. I've got to take so many people on cool toy drive fishing trips because I'm not a guide. So I take, I have my boat and people donate either money or new or unopened toys. And then I take care of Christmas for kids. Last year, we took care of over 200 kids. So this year, we'll see if we can do better than that. Oh yeah, I appreciate you guys' support. Try to do the best I can. I'm not too shabby myself. I've got a couple double digits on video just in the last 2 years. We've got a double digit from McClure, double digit from Pedro. We've put a couple 8-pounders in the boat in the last 2 years, and we put an untold amount of 5 and 6-pounders in the boat, and a Brazilian 1 to 3-pounders, like more than I can count. Cool thing about this channel is if you're new here, YouTube just doesn't really push it. But if you want, dig through my old content if you're kind of new here, or for those of you who are, you've been here, but you just kind of are up to date with the newest videos I've done. I've got a lot of videos the last 2 years from McClure, Pedro, the Delta, all these other places where I'm sticking 100 fish a day, catching 4 and 5-pounder, 20+ pound bags left and right. So that's I got a lot of that stuff in my video history, just not this last 6 months. Been some weird changes, right? I mean, life has just been weird the last with COVID and everything. Because as soon as they did the lockdown, I've been really hammered fishing for like a year, right? But after, okay, perfect. After about a year or so of that, and once my boat got like broke, basically, well, it didn't break. What I did is I hit something that busted my prop, but little to me, I didn't realize that sudden stopping moment had busted loose the hose underneath the live well. So whenever I dropped into the water, instead of water filling my live well, it was filling my boat. So I'd always have to run the bilge. So I figured out what was wrong, plugged it up. My live well stopped working. So there's just been one problem after the other. So hopefully, this last 6 months, I haven't been doing any tournament fishing. My fish finder hasn't been working. So some of my old videos, I show you guys what I'm looking for on my fish finder, show you how I dialed them in, what I'm doing on the lakes. So I'm hoping that as soon as we get that boat out of the shop, we get the fish finder back on. Man, I'm really excited for this next year. So smash that like button just to help out if you guys get a chance there. Share the videos if you guys would like. But I really appreciate everybody hanging out. It's almost hey Marco Houston. Excuse me. Apologize, folks. Drinking a beer, getting a little burpy. Hola, ¿cómo estás, mi amigo? Poquito sabe español, 3 años, Foster Farms, mi trabajo, mi amigos, no inglés, mi no español. ¿Cómo dice phone in español? That's how I learned. So I can understand it. I can understand it better than I can speak it. So I have a little bit of Spanglish. I can speak German too, so I got a little bit of 3 different languages. Ich habe 3 Jahre in der Schule. Ich sprechen Sie Deutsch sehr gut, you know. Ich komme aus Monterey und ich wohne in Vinton, you know. So ich bin oh no, ich bin 40 Jahre alt, you know. So yeah, I can speak German, a little bit of Spanish, and Hmong too. A little Nyajong, Kudumbe. Here are some. Kunutau I able plachitunje. You know, I catch 5 fish, not just one. But yeah. So here's to you, an awesome fishing crew and community. Bien, ¿y tú? Está bien. Mucho chinga, right? In that life right there. Mucho chinga. That's like my favorite Mexican saying or Spanish saying right there. Mucho chinga. Yeah, it's universal. Everybody knows that. Like, oh, who doesn't have mucho chinga today, nowadays? All right, one more down and I'm done. So usually we go till about 9 o'clock, but we'll go a little bit longer if you guys would like. Otherwise, you guys know the routine: 7 to 9. We're on here. Sometimes 6 to 9 if I get off early and everything's prepped enough. Otherwise, we try to do 7 to 9. I don't want to bore you guys to death. Believe it or not, yes, I can actually yap for 3 whole hours. You know, about any random shit too. Believe it or not, it's crazy too. And you guys hang out with me, so thanks. But I really hope it to be entertaining. I give out honest to God tips and tricks. You know, I've been bass fishing since I was about 11, 12 years old. I'm 40 now, so damn near close to 30 years. I'm no pro or anything, but I like to share. You know, I like to help out. And we do great things for the community here. I try to remain as positive on this channel as possible and produce good stuff. So, shout out and a big thank you to everybody. But for the next 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, you know, I don't mind rolling overboard a little bit. If you guys got anything you guys want to chat or talk about, any specific lakes you guys would like to see me hit up, or any spots like where you want to send me, like I'm stuck without a boat for who knows, could be a month, could be 2 months, could be a couple weeks, could be 3 months. I don't know. Hope not. If it gets to that, I might have to get my boat out of the shop and take it to a different shop, right? But either way, I trust the guy. I like the dude, Jason Oliver. Oliver Outboards, really good dude. He's worked on my boat before. But in the meantime, where the hell should I go? Good night, folks. Y'all have a great night. Catch you next time. See you next one, Cali Bear. And I've got to go. We'll be back when you're on again. Well, thank you, Mr. Wheelchair Preacher. I got your message, Wheelchair. So good. I know who you are. Thank you. So that's pretty cool. I enjoy personally knowing most of my viewers, and for those I don't, thank you for hanging out and watching either way. Now, Tony, what tournament was on Saturday at Don Pedro? I'm not quite sure. I was at McClure on Saturday, and it seemed like there was a turkey shoot of some sorts. At Pedro, I'm not aware if there was a tournament, which one it was. You'll have to forgive me for that. Sometimes I'm on the tournament circuit, like, and I'm really knowing who's doing what and what's going on, especially when I'm fishing them, because then I like to know, you know, who's the top dogs, who's doing what. Because some guys are known for being jig fishermen, bottom bouncers. Some guys are reaction fishermen. I know a lot of these guys, right? So if they're doing really good, that can even just tell me right off the bat, oh hey, they probably killed them doing this or that. Or I can always reach out to them, say, hey buddy, how'd you get your fish? And that's one of the cool things, and they'll give me a couple hints or send me on in a direction. Fish catching I do is my own intuition, and fishing skills, I guess. Especially if it's just to help out like this. Now in a tournament, we're a little more cutthroat, right? Might share after the tournament, might cracking them on this or that, but we won't release the video till the tournament's over, and that's how it is. So. Oh, dude, McClure, the fish were all shallow. I spent half the day assuming that because of how far we are along in November, that the fish were either going to be two to three things. They're either going to be in between 20, 25 feet and 50 feet deep on the bottom. They're either going to be between 20, 25, and 50, 60 feet suspended up off the bottom, or they could be out over any number of water depth, over 300, 200 feet, over 100 feet, 60 feet, suspended middle, like eating trout or bait balls. What I didn't count on was them being in 1 to like 15 feet of water. So if you go to McClure, go tomorrow, throw a jig and fish shallow. So all you got to do is right now, and I'm assuming here's what I think. It's not always the same. It's not always true, but they're very close. And my rule of thinking is usually, not always, usually all three of our mother lode lakes fish very similar. Sometimes they kind of have this rotational pattern where one day this lake's kind of real cruddy and this lake's great, and then it shifts, and then whatever was working at this lake now works at this one, and this lake may not be so good on that, or all three lakes may be on fire at the same time. And that would be McClure, Don Pedro, and New Maloney's. They fish very similar. They fish they're very geographically located near each other, so their water temps are usually closer, close-ish to the same temperature, and the bass are usually in a similar pattern. So if they're shallow at one lake, they may be shallow at another. Not every time, but no, definitely not. Sometimes one lake's killer and the other lakes suck, right? But at McClure, we were just killing them, like not killing them, but like the reason I say that, we had a tough day. And then once we started fishing up shallow, we got them. But a lot of our friends got them. The buddy that I talked to got them. Someone caught over like a 30 fish day, and they were all 1 to 15 feet of water. So hopefully that helps. That's where I would be. Yep. And we were catching them on a jig. So what we noticed is we had to be on the bottom. So we were getting all our fish with jigs. So jigs and Ned rigs were pretty much the only thing that we could get bit on. I did get one on a drop shot, but the bite was extremely slow and painful as hell. And the way that the fish hit the drop shot was in the same similar depth pattern of the jig fish, but when they hit the drop shot, I'm dragging it and I just feel it kind of weight, like it gets heavier, and then I pull it in towards me and I feel the weight kind of moving and then slowly kind of pull back, like barely. And I knew it was a fish, so I got him, right? But every jig fish, they were hitting the jig, and they were really keyed in on it. So colors seemed to be not the black and blue, not the red, any of that. We were getting them on green pumpkin. So anything like a natural bottom color, like green pumpkin, with the watermelon flake, or just green pumpkin or PB and J type stuff, little browns and greens and stuff. We were doing pretty good, and that's what most of our friends were also doing good on. So bottom contact, and then 1 foot down to about 20 feet of water, and mostly on the main lakes. So all on main lake points or rock walls. And if they were in the back of cuts, they were like not all the way in the back and kind of a little bit away, and then on key like rock and stuff structure seem to be on rock a lot, almost like they're sunning or getting chilling in the sun, or they're after crawdads, or I've been preaching about a false spawn. The water temps are perfect. Water temps are 58 to 60 right now. The lighting is just like it was in the spring, the fall, it mimics it. So a lot of the times the fish will push up shallow and do a false spawn. They'll sit on flats or hard bottoms, but they don't make eggs. They don't have their little, ritual, but they move up and they get real kind of guarding of an area, so to speak. And they'll do this for a week or two, at least, maybe even 3 weeks, until they kind of realize when the water temperature drops and it's not, then they'll pull off. So I don't know if it's false spawn. It could be a combination of all of the three. So if you're interested, look it up. Like the false spawn is a real thing. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've got it on video where a bass is staring at me all day long, and the stupid thing's in 3 feet of water, and it's like a 3 pound bass or so. And the stupid thing will not eat anything I throw at it. And as soon as a trout goes by it, it tries to eat the trout. And no matter what, though, it won't leave this little 2 or 3 foot area. You can throw rocks at it, it'll go off and come right back. It was doing exactly like a spawning bass would. So could be a couple different things. The crawdad go through a fall molt and like spawning season, so they come out in the fall before the winter. The crawdads do. Another factor is if the lake is rising, fish will pull shallower. They'll move up, and if they're doing a fall spawn, and then there are also times when it's cold, they'll move up shallow near rocks because they heat up, right? Especially a little bit later in the day. I don't know what the hell they were doing up there. Which one of the like why? I'm being very honest. I don't know. But all I know is that I fished my ass off and I didn't do very good until I started focusing shallow and slow, bottom bouncing. So like if you were getting followers on maybe A rigs or swim baits or crankbaits, might have been moving a little too fast. Try a jig. So we noticed that anything on the bottom seemed to get hit. So like if I was using a jig and I hopped it a lot, didn't get bit as much. If we dragged it and we maintained contact with the bottom, you'd feel that nice little bite. Boy, was it on. So yeah, I know that Cook, the day that we were there, he had 25 or 30 in the boat, they said, before like 11 o'clock or something like that. I know that Darren, Michael Peters, a buddy of Jay's and them, kind of acquaintance of mine, I know that he had caught in some good ones. I know Jeff Garcia, he had been up there catching them from shore, and then most of them have been shallow. So I didn't put two and two together until it was a little too late. But hey, the one thing I will do though is I'll admit when I'm wrong, and I'll admit, or also I'll learn from my mistakes. So if I get out there soon enough, I'll start shallow and then maybe work deep. But I'll tell you right now that between now and my next fishing day, if we have a massive cold front come in and we get some colder nights, I fully expect those fish to pull off. But if it maintains 60s and 70s for a few more days, I cannot wait to get back out there because I have a feeling they're going to be doing the same thing. So, jigs up shallow, that's what I'd be doing. But, anyways, thank you guys and gals for watching tonight. Smash that subscribe and like button, and we'll see you guys on the next live stream Wednesday. We're going to have a couple of surprise giveaways this month, so make sure your notification bells checked. All members are going to receive a special Christmas present from me in the month of December. We've got our two giveaway winners to get out their prizes. They'll be getting those shortly. So congratulations to you guys. I think it was Racho Bunch and one other. I'll just have to go double check again. You guys won a lure pack consisting of like an LV 500, Biggie Papa square bills, stuff like that. So you're going to get a nice little lure pack. And then all members are going to get something from me in December as a big thank you for supporting the channel, and a Merry Christmas. And in the month of December, we're going to have 2 surprise giveaways that are not going to be announced. They're just going to be held whenever, and they're going to be open to everybody. So you don't have to be a member, just have to be a subscriber or a viewer of the channel. So thanks for supporting, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you guys Wednesday. We do these 6 to 9. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Everybody have a good one, and thanks for watching. And I hope you guys had a merry, happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you guys. But if we don't see you then, Merry Christmas and have a good one.